You're leaving wins on the table here in college football 26, and the sad part is you wouldn't even know it. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 secret college football 26 tips that will help you dominate everyone that you're playing against. From a glitch route that'll pick up easy yards against zone defense to the best way to stop the run every single time and stop getting gashed on the ground, you're not going to want to miss out on any of the tips or tricks I'm breaking down today, so be sure to watch until the end. Let's jump right into it. The first secret tip I want to break down is actually a glitch route that's going to absolutely destroy zone defense and make it, for them on defense, really hard. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so as we know, I'm going to be talking about the curl route here, alright? And so as we know, the curl route's going to be great, especially when you combine it with like some sort of flat route, right? Maybe you call a curl flat concept, you put your running back on an out route just like this, and so or a flat route, and so you're just going to see how these zones are just going to get pushed outside, and then that guy's just going to get to a great area. Essentially, zone logic says that, okay, if I have a flat route on the field and there's a flat zone, the flat zone is going to get pushed outside by the flat route, just like you're able to see right here, and give us an easy opening just like this in the middle for our curl route to just sit down. The reality, though, is they could shade their hooks down, right? Or they could really just shade their coverage down, and now that guy's going to be in a pretty good spot to actually be able to defend that. So now you're going to see how I shade my coverage down, and that hook basically is sitting right in front of that guy, so I really wouldn't want to throw that, right? Now, like, I completed it, but that really wasn't an open throw because that guy's sitting right in front of that area. Right, so it's like what you really need to do is just stem your curl up a little bit. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to stem it up twice with the D-pad. So now it's going to run just a little bit deeper like that, or really a lot deeper. So now he's basically going to be able to easily outrun these or overrun these hook zones. So now I'm going to take this snap, and now they just have no chance. And that's going to be easy yards for you once he sits down. What I want you to understand, though, is that now it takes longer for this to get open. So if you're noticing that you're constantly getting hit or getting shedded, maybe you only stem it up one time. So it's not going to be twice. It's only going to be once that you're going to stem it up. So what you're going to see right here is you are going to, they're going to shade their coverage down, but now instead of pressing D-pad up twice, you're just going to press it up once, where now you're going to take this step up in the pocket, and now he's going to sit down earlier, and now since you have a little bit more time to throw, that's going to be an easy completion for you. So that's how you're going to better attack zone coverage here in this game, is you're going to start just using these core routes, but always make sure you also have a flat on the field so that this defender right here can't like migrate back to the middle of the field to defend this. He is going to get pushed out to the flat just because you have your flat route, and then you just have a guy sitting right here in the zone. But also what makes this even better is their user defender, right? Because now their user defender is going to be really confused, because I'm going to show you what's going to happen very often. So they're going to say, okay, I see the curl route. They've been hitting me with the curl route now, but this curl just looks like a shriek. So now we're going to take this snap right here. They're going to user this defender, and so they're going to take this, run with it, and then peel off of it just like that. Because now what they think in their mind is, okay, well, he's running vertical up the field. He's just running a shriek. And so that would mean that like a deep zone could guard this. Like this guy's running a shriek and this guy's running a shriek is what they're thinking right now with their user. And so now they peel off of it, and that will leave him just wide open right there in the middle of the zone coverage. So we're going to go ahead and run it again right here, where again, the same thing's going to happen. Where, again, you're going to have your curl route on your B receiver. You're going to stem it up one time just so that it runs vertical like it's a shriek. And so now, okay, Davis, I'm going to user this. Oh, that's a shriek. Peel off of it. And now that's just going to be an easy completion for you. Now, you still are going to need time to throw, certainly, because if they user it for just long enough like they do here, even though like it's open, you get shedded. So you still want to have time to throw, but it's like if you're noticing that you do have plenty of time to throw, you're very easily going to be able to bait them, right? Okay, I have an in route. Oh, well, this is a shriek, so I can just go guard the in route. Boom. But no, this curl is just going to sit down perfectly in the middle of the zone coverage and give you an easy completion. So really that's kind of the secret here that you're going to start utilizing, is actually just stemming up these curl routes so that they can just sit down right in between those zones and get, well, first of all, get over the top of these zones, but then also just sit down in the middle of them for easy completions, versus a regular curl route is a lot easier to guard. Alright, the next secret that I want to break down here in college football 26 is going to be one that's going to allow you to get instant sacks, literally instantly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we're going to come in, we're going to be talking about overload blitzing here, but we're going to come in a 3-3-5 penny, or you can do this from 3-3 cub, whichever one that you have in your playbook. But I'm going to shift my defensive line left. I'm going to draw my outside linebacker into a crow flat, and I'm going to be ready to utilize the D-pad swish shift. Now, also side note, I played the College Football 27 beta. This is still the best defense in the game, so I would say that if you're running this now, you're going to be really good to go day one here. But what we're going to do is we're going to stand directly right here over the center, about 2 yards over his left shoulder. So kind of where I'm standing right here, and as soon as we recognize that they snap the ball, we're going to press our D-pad to the right to switch onto our outside linebacker who we have in this curl flat. So they're going to take the snap, I immediately press D-pad right, and now we're going to be able to walk in the backfield completely untouched very often against their 4-man rush, because really what you're trying to get right here is this, your user defender runs into the center, which you see he's going to come in free right here, but then he's just an idiot and gets chipped up, right? So that's what made it to where it wasn't like instantaneous, but like the concept is correct. If you can get him to just run right into the center, which no blitz is going to work every time, there's a lot of fluke in this game, but it's like if you can simply execute the concept of getting him to run into the center, then you create the 4-on-3 advantage on the left side of the offensive line to walk in free. So again, boom, take the snap, D-pad swish it, and now you're actually able to see how right there he completely walks in the backfield if they don't have extender on, right, to be able to sack the quarterback, because either your edge rusher is going to come in completely untouched, or this linebacker right here is going to come in completely untouched, simply because you just have more guys on that side than they have blockers, right? Because of where you're standing with your user, and then you switch stick off of him. Well, now, okay, well, I mean, they double team this guy on the right, but then it's like 4-on-3 over here, and so we're just going to be able to backfield very, very easily. Now, what I also want you to pay attention to is how you're back into coverage with your user. This is very critical, because you need to either guard over the middle like I do right here, or if a guy runs out to the flat really quickly like an out route, you need to be ready to defend that too. So if you're noticing how they're constantly getting hit with like in-breaking routes like this play that they're calling, maybe you want to put him into a vert hook instead, so that he's actually over the middle of the field, and so now when you actually switch, now I'm over the middle instead of being all the way out on the sideline, and so I'm better able to defend those in-breaking routes, and you still see how we're going to walk in the backfield complete untouched, just like that, simply because we just have more guys on the right or on the left side of the offensive line, and they have blockers, and we're going to be able to just, you know, walk in free. So that's really what you're doing here, is actually utilizing the D-pad switch stick, because if I set up the same great blitz right here, right, but I was trying to use the right stick to switch players, right, which is what too many players do, you see I'm not able to switch players because my user is in a blitz assignment. So you have to make sure you're understanding which, you know, switch stick technique you're using, whether it's the D-pad switch stick or it's actually using the left stick. Or excuse me, what you're using the D-pad switch stick here, but here in other cases you might use the right stick, but you need to understand because you're blitzing your user, you're actually going to use the D-pad. So again, you know, easy pressure, 4-on-3 on the left side of the offensive line here, immediately D-pad switch stick, and that's what's going to allow for that man to just walk in untouched while your user's back over the middle to defend those quick in routes, quick slants, or if you needed to defend like a flat route instead, maybe they run something over here, well, you're better able to guard that because now you're over the middle of the field and you're not actually user rushing. So that's how you're going to start getting instant sacks. You can do this from penny, you can do this from 6-1, you can do this from cub, from double mug, so many different defenses that you can create an overload and then D-pad switch stick from, but that's really how you're going to start getting instant sacks. Alright, so if you found this breakdown helpful so far of secret tips here in College Football 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down College Football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want my Alabama offense and 4-3 multiple defense bundled together so that you can actually save money here and get better at College Football 26 as we wind down the year, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. They both go through the full videos, screenshots, write-ups, everything you're going to need to dominate on both sides of the ball and finish the year out strong so you can be dominant when 27 drops. I highly recommend you check it out. You can save everything to your phone during gameplay and always reference it. So go down below, grab it today, and let's jump right back into the video. Because the next secret tip that I want to break down is something that not enough players even know that they have the possibility to do, and it's mandatory that you get better with it if you want to be better on defense. Let me show you. Alright, so this is really the foundation of defense here in college football 26, and it's actually having a good user defender, alright? And so what we're talking about here is going to be having a disciplined and smart user, right? And so what this means is, let's just say they call this route concept right here, where they're going to put B on a drag, they're going to have RB on a crosser, alright? And so let's just say that we have a hard flat on the field, right? What you don't want to do is come down here and guard this drag and now give up this crosser over the top if they had more time to throw. That's wide open, and that's going to absolutely destroy your defense because that's a wide open touchdown or like a 40-50 yard gain down the field. This is a terrible user because you already have a hard flat out here. You already have a defender that's going to guard this, and so if you were to just guard this crosser now, both of them would be taken away. And that's something that too many players don't understand, how they can have a really smart and disciplined user, because it's like you only, like, you know what coverage is on the field for you. So as long as you understand what your zones, what your players are guarding, you know that you wouldn't have to guard that. Another example would be if they call actually the same play. Why would you guard this shriek route, right? Because you have a deep half on the field. Like, you take this defender, too many of you guys are just running with this shriek. Why would you do that? There's already a deep half that's going to guard that. So it's really about understanding what your specific zones, what your specific players are already guarding, and then having that disciplined user. Another situation that could come up, though, is if you have basically this defense out here, where this cloud flat on the left side isn't really going to take away this drag. Like, this drag is still going to be open. We hike this ball, they can still throw this, right? So that's still going to be open, but also the reality is that same cloud flat is not going to get back there and guard that crosser either. So he's kind of caught in no man's land, as I call it, because he's not actually guarding anything. But that's where it's like, this is where it's even more important to have a smart user. So you're going to see right here where, again, I snap this ball, I step up in the pocket, and it's like he's not guarding that. Another defender ended up guarding that because I didn't have enough time to throw. But it's like the cloud flat isn't going to get back there and guard a crosser. Like, the crosser is going to end up all the way out here. He's not getting back there. But also, he's not guarding this either. So it's like, you have to really pick your poison sometimes on defense, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because why, again, I showed you earlier, why would you want to take away a 2-yard drag to give up a 40-yard crosser? So if they call this same play, what you would need to do is guard this with your user, because you see, if I'm not here, that crosser's wide open. Force them to check it down underneath and make a good read. What I would also say, just from my experience playing the game, it's like these players on offense, when they call a play like this, they're looking for this crosser. Inexperienced passers are only looking to push the ball down the field. They're really not looking to hit this. This isn't sexy. This is lame, right? Viewed as lame. So it's like they don't want to throw this drag underneath. So it's like, if you just give it up, actually force them to hit it, take away the passes they really want to hit, well, now you can actually just play pretty good defense like I did there and get a coverage sack. So it's like having a smart, disciplined user is really going to make defense for you a lot easier, because it's really not just that route concept. If they were to call a route concept like this, shriek corner flat, well, now you would need to make sure that you're actually guarding this deep corner, because your guy's not going to get back there and guard it, right? I need to be here to take this away, and even though that out route is still open, you want them to hit that versus than having the, corner route open down the field, or the crossing route, whichever the deeper route is. So basically, what I'm telling you is the foundation of defense is having a really smart user defender, being really disciplined, so that if you get beat on a play, they call a better route concept than you have defense in the field. You're not giving up 40, 50 yard gains down the field simply because you're chasing underneath routes. If you were to call this defense against this route concept, you would need to make sure you're guarding the crosser so that they can't throw it, force them to check the ball down, and you're just going to see how your defense is going to be a lot easier because it's going to be bend but don't break. Alright, before I jump to those final 2 secret tips that you're absolutely not going to want to miss here in College Football 26, I wanted to once again remind you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. Again, I break down College Football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better at the end of the year and finish that you're strong so that you can dominate when 27 drops. So I'm really the best channel to watch and take information from. And again, subscribing is literally free. So go down below, do it today, and let's jump right back into those final 2 tips. Which that next one is going to be a pro offense trick, yes, that all the top pro players use, and there's a reason for it. Let me break it down. Alright, so this is actually going to be flipping your play, alright, when you're on offense. This is going to be best from bunch formations, tight formations, like maybe even sometimes trips formations, cluster, all of those type of plays. Flipping your play. Because what happens is, right there, they know that they can't really run cover 2 against bunch, or at least not on the bunch side, like smart defensive players. Because again, like I actually just showed you in the last segment, if they're not paying attention, or if you're not paying attention on defense, right, you're just going to see how if they call this route concept, this corner out is just going to be wide open on the sideline because that defense isn't actually capable of defending that route concept. And so that's a very common one. So they know if they run a bunch formation, they can go to that against cover 2. So it's like what defensive players are going to try to do is they're going to adjust. So now they're going to put a cover 3 on that side to better be able to defend that play. And then they also might like man up the guy who's running the corner route. So now this is their defense, a cover 3 cloud, a cover 3 on the bunch side with actually a man up, an extra support defender, and then cover 2 on the weak side because there's only one passing threat on that side. So you really only need a flat and a deep zone on that side. You don't need any extra support. So it's like now when they go to this route concept, or when you go to this, it's going to be completely guarded. Because now they have the defender there. The flat's taken away with the out route or with the curl flat on the cover 3 side. They have a bracket, basically a double team here on this corner route, and then the shriek is going to get guarded by the inside third. So now that's really great defense to be able to stop that route concept. And so they get a sack right there. And so now in the next play, they see you in a bunch again. Well, now they're going to go right back to the same defense because it worked. But now what you're going to start doing is just flip your play on them. Right, because now you have bunch on the right side, I just flip. And so look what happens to their defense. They have now the man up is now across the field, and their curl flat defender is across the field. So really what I can do now is I could set up a route concept just like this, where I still have my street corner flat, right? But now my street corner flat is playing against a cover 2, the cover 2 side, which is what we obviously saw work the first time. But now there's no flat on the right side. So this is going to be terrible defense, right? This is terrible, right? I can easily just hike throw this out route, easy completion, turn that into easy yards. But also if I wanted to, I could just throw my weight and just throw my corner out over the top. So again, you're going to see it where now you're just trying to play defense from across the field for no reason, right? Your zones are completely misaligned. There's no flat on that side. And so now it's just going to be, again, very easy for you to attack them deep down the sideline with a corner route. Right, and so it's like that guy's coming from across the field. He actually did a pretty good job of following that even across the field, but it's like their zones are completely out of play, right? There's an easy completion out here to the out route because this guy's completely misaligned. Even though they flipped their play and he flipped with us, right, it doesn't matter because his zone is across the field. But also there's going to be times where he doesn't follow, right? So now they're going to flip their play, or we're going to flip our play. Now he doesn't follow. So that makes it even easier for us because now we know for a fact they're in cover 2 on that side. Or we know at least that they could have been in cover 3, but we now know there's not even enough defenders on that side to make it to where they can reasonably guard this route concept. They just can't. The corner route's open, right? The underneath pass would be open, and even if they put a cover 3 on that side, a flood concept still beats cover 3. There would be no way for them to add that additional support defender on that side simply because there's slot corners on the opposite side of the field. So really, that's what makes bunch formation so good is you can quickly flip your play after they set up all these adjustments, right, to be able to defend a bunch formation. Boom, and then you just flip, and so now it's like their defense is completely misaligned, right? They have a guy manned up from across the field. You can just throw an out route right at him. And so, I mean, you could just call it probably just a route concept like this. And so this is just going to be an easy completion for you, down the field. You could also take off with your quarterback if, you don't find someone open. But it's like flipping your play is going to make it a whole lot harder for them to play defense. Maybe flip more than once, completely mess them up. But the bottom line here is you need to mix in the flip when you're on offense. Start on one side, flip to the other side to misalign their defense, and you're just going to notice how, again, their defense is going to be misaligned, meaning there's not going to be flats on one side, and you're easily going to be able to take advantage of them simply because you're catching them off guard and quick snapping. All right, and that fifth and final secret tip that I want to break down here in College Football 26 is actually going to be one that's going to allow you to stop the run in the backfield every single time. Let me show you. Alright, so we're going to come into nickel double mug here, and our play is going to be mid blitz 0, because what's going to happen for us is we're going to take this linebacker and we're going to be able to stop the run in the backfield every single time, right? This defense really isn't great run defense, by itself, because you're just able to see how you're able to get downhill and rip off big gains like that when the block's set up. So obviously they rip off a big touchdown against mid blitz. So I really don't think mid blitz is that great of run defense until you do what I'm about to show you. So you see how when I'm standing right here with my linebacker, there's going to be a flame icon over the head of that defensive end right there on the right side. And he comes in free, but he really doesn't have an angle to do anything if they just run away from him, like I did in the last play. But instead, if I take Goodman right here and move him over the center like this, and now what's going to happen is that I'm going to be able to stop this run in the backfield every single time, because now that linebacker is going to walk in completely untouched. You see how they pancaked my user right there, but it doesn't matter because you're retargeting the blocking of the offensive line. What you're able to see now, I'm just going to be able to walk in the backfield just like this and tackle this guy. They block this guy now on the edge, the defensive end, but now they let this guy come in free. And when you're on defense, you would much rather have this A-gap linebacker walk in free than have this guy on the edge walk in free, because against an inside run, a base, a draw, a trap, an inside zone, he's just going to walk in the backfield and immediately tackle this guy before they have the opportunity to speed boost away. I've been playing Madden in college football for a long time. When I found this worked, this is absolutely insane, that you can just easily stop the run in the backfield like this. Boom. Easy run defense. And what you can also do is click onto that guy to make sure that you're actually getting that tackle. Because the reality is, if you let the computer make this tackle like 10 times, they're going to miss, either completely whiff or let the guy break the tackle probably like 2 or 3 times. But if you actually click on, you give yourself more control, which really means that you could make this play 10 out of 10 times. And if you do miss, it's on your user. It's your user's fault instead of it being on the game. And that's always a good place to be, where it's like if you do make mistakes, it's on you versus giving the game all the control and then they mess it up, and it's pretty frustrating. So you're going to see how, again, when I stand over here, flame icon's over the DN, but as soon as I move this linebacker over the center, now I'm actually going to be able to retarget the offensive line and, let my guy come in free. It's always the opposite linebacker from the halfback. But it's always just going to be the opposite linebacker from the halfback, just like this. You're going to see how, again, if they were to flip their play, I would take the other linebacker, but now you're just going to notice how, again, I stand in the right spot, I click on, and then I dive, and it's like, that time he broke my dive tackle, but that's because I didn't dive early enough. Right, now luckily for us, we were still able to swarm to the ball, but this is what I'm talking about. When bad things happen, when you miss the tackle, this is my user's fault. I either don't have a good enough tackler here ratings-wise, or it's like, there's some fluke to it, but it's like now we're still able to rally to the ball and make that play. So this is going to be the most consistent run defense in the game, and they're going to eventually start to realize that they can't run inside runs when you come stand in this spot with your user and retarget the blocking of the offensive line, because you're just going to stop them in the backfield every time, dive tackle by pressing X on Xbox, square on PlayStation, and you're going to be able to stop every single inside run in the game in the backfield every time. Alright, so if you found those 5 secret tips helpful here in College Football 26, I wanted you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. Again, I break down College Football 26 and tips just like this down every single day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content. So what are you thinking? Subscribing is literally free, and if you want my full ebook bundle here, my Alabama offense and my 4-3 multiple defense, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. It goes to the full videos, screenshots, write-ups of the offense and the defense so that you can save everything in your phone and have no confusion over where your ebook is. It's really going to transform your gameplay here and get you ready for College Football 27. So I highly recommend you check it out. But if you want to see a gameplay of me running that Alabama offense against a real opponent, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.